My name is Terpstra. I have been farming in Huron County with my husband and my three boys for about 25 years now. My husband grew up in agriculture, and I actually grew up in urban Ontario. We've always been a land-based, fair-to-finish operation. So what that means is we have the sows, the piglets, and the grow-finish barns. So we market all of our hogs. The land-based portion just means that we actually grow all of the pigs' feed on the land that we currently have. So the main grain that we feed in our rations would be corn. So all of the corn that we grow on our property, we feed back to our pigs. Back in 2015, my husband and we chose to build a state-of-the-art sow barn under the new 2014 pig code, which required us to build our barn with our sows running around loose in their pens. So they were no longer stalled in their gestation crate. It was at this time that we chose to invest in precision feeding technology. We have electronic feed stations that feed our sows, and we actually invested in some ventilation within our barn system that recycles its heat loss. Our grow finish barn, however, actually feeds our pigs a liquid ration. So it allows us on farm to feed many byproducts. So we feed corn distillers, whey, wheat shortbread, soybean products, and we've even fed bakery meal as another ration. Our operation, at this time, we actually chose with our operation to go into a raised without antibiotics program. So we actually raise enough pork to feed about 40,000 Canadians. We're continuously investing in innovation and technology, and we're constantly looking for the availability of real-time data within our operation to make decisions on our farm. So in the swine sector, three challenges would probably be managing market volatility. So there's a lot of pricing and market disruptions in our industry, and probably the access to export markets and the ability to use the whole hog. In Ontario, we're probably one of the less expensive places in the world to produce pork. So our ability to continuously produce a high quality protein product will definitely allow us to continuously open other trade corridors. The second one would probably be sustaining a good business environment for our producer base. We have had issues with processing capacity and issues with the lack of labor, and I would say it's come more to light with the current situation with COVID. But I would say there's probably the ability for research to maybe help us adopt maybe more innovation and technology in the plants for processing and further processing. Probably maintaining public trust would be probably another avenue for us. Ongoing research on our husbandry practices is very important to us in our farming operations. And I would say the next big one is the hog industry is going to be undergoing major changes. Effective 2029, all sows will be held in loose facilities. They will no longer be stalled in gestation crates. So there's a lot of different things that us as farmers need to understand, whether it's sow behavior or the dynamics of sows in groups or uses of enrichment to alleviate some of the stress for sows that are in these dynamic groups. Even genetic selection needs to change in our operations. We definitely look more at leg and hoof quality, where in the past it was always about the piglets that were born alive to every sow. And I would say that things have changed on the genetic side. And then the biggest one is probably the investment for a lot of farmers in adopting new infrastructure. So when we built our facility back in 2015, it was a major investment and looking at different ventilation and heat exchanger systems, even having to adopt new technology that comes from like Europe and the United States, and probably a lot of real-time data with the precision feeding technologies. So a lot of that is new for a lot of producers. So that's probably one of the biggest investments that a lot of producers will be making over the next probably 7 to 8 years. And then if I was to pick a third, I would probably choose animal health and the threat of foreign animal diseases. So probably monitoring and the prevention strategies that we have as farmers, because PRRS strains are very prevalent in Ontario. So I would say as producers, we look at enhancing our biosecurity across the entire supply chain, and then even antimicrobial resistance. So 7 years ago when we built our sow barn, we ended up looking at raising our hogs without antibiotics. The problem is with disease challenges in Ontario, it does make it a little more challenging as a producer to not have a lot of tools in our toolbox to be able to use on farm for our animals. So right now there will be some changes with the amount of zinc that we're allowed to use in our piglet feeds. And that is going to impact us a great deal in our sow operations with being able to find other tools to use within our feed rations to help the piglet get through that time where we've used zinc instead of antibiotics. So it's a little tough because it takes a long time even for the CFIA to regulate different products that Europe might be using currently. And it takes so much longer to get them into Canada for us to be able to use them on farm as well. So I would say there's definitely a lot of work that still needs to be done when it comes to antimicrobial resistance, not just on the animal and the human, but the plants as well. So kind of that one health picture. When we were looking into building our research facility there 7 years ago, we actually looked towards Europe for getting innovation and technology on farm. Europe does have a tendency to probably innovate faster and sell technology to the rest of the world. So I would say the only other place where I look to get innovation from is probably even from other producers that have taken the step to already make changes into the LUSA housing facilities. So I would say that's probably where we get a lot of our benefit for our own operation. I would like to see more research probably placed on climate change research and probably innovation that would help me with labor challenges that we face on farm, probably establishing a lot of baselines when it comes to our industry, when it comes to climate change, just to know where we're starting from. And probably, I would love to see more research probably placed on feed ingredients. When we think about the emissions of a hog, I know in Europe, they do a lot of different things with byproducts. So if I was to probably look at more research that way, probably what goes into the pig as a result of what comes out of the pig. Probably the best way for researchers to get the results into practice would probably be through a lot of extension through seminars and conferences. I know as a producer, I really enjoy the in-person activities that a conference presents. I will continue to read publications like Better Pork, listen to podcasts, and even right now, what's interesting is there was a group of farmers that put together a swine online. So a Maffer was part of it. Tim Blackwell, being a researcher, was part of it. And they always kind of have a producer within our industry that they highlight. So there's a lot of question and answer. And it's really nice to listen to other struggles that other producers have. So when it comes to the future of getting the research into practice, we learn from each other, but I think it really benefits our industry to share common challenges and maybe try to problem solve. And having a researcher within that forum, it sort of brings to light different aspects of what we do. Even the new swine facility that's going to be built in Elora, I would say it has unlimited potential for research that will definitely benefit Ontario producers. So in the hog world, I would say the biggest barrier is likely cost. So hog markets can be extremely volatile. And it's really difficult to take on new innovations. So we do things that we're always comfortable with and we always know what the results are going to be. So sometimes it's a little scary to take that leap of faith and do something where we're not sure of the end result. But I know as farmers, we're always looking for a return on our investment. So advice for early researchers, probably to network with producers, network with provincial organizations, come and visit a pig farm. I mean, you can actually see mine and walk through a 360 video and you don't have to get into the barn and get dirty. I'm always open for research discussions. Probably one of the biggest things for me is I understand the importance of high-level research, but sometimes I wish the researcher was to take it one step further and run that research, if it's possible, in a commercial setting. So in a barn like mine, or just to see if their high-level researcher still works in a non-controlled environment, because I think I would probably implement that research faster on my farm if I knew that it worked in a commercial setting. So sometimes it's difficult to look at high-level research and to see the value of it on farm.